To the course Database Management System. Myself, Muhammad Asifuddin Mondol, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Narula Institute of Technology. And this is the lecture 1 of that course. And I am going to cover Introduction to Database Management System. And this is the course outcome. On completion of that particular course, student will be able to construct an ER diagram for an application. They will be able to create a normalized relational database model. As well, they will be able to answer real-world queries to generate reports from it. Student will be able to determine whether the transaction satisfies the asset properties or not. Also, they will be able to organize and maintain the database of an organization. And this is the topics which I am going to cover during my lecture. What is Database Management System? In short, what is DBMS? Application of DBMS, drawback of file processing system, and what are the goals of DBMS. Next, what is database management system? But before that, we have to know what is data. Data is basically a sort of fact or information related to an entity. So entity means anything which belongs to a real world and have some properties. For example, student is an entity, faculty is an entity. Similarly, phone, car, bike, all these are entity. If you want to store the information of a student, or what is the data of a student, then it should constitute the following fields. For example, student role, student name, the department in which student belongs, year of admission and year of passing. As a whole, this constitute a single information or single data of a particular student. Next is database. Database is a organized collection of interrelated data, and this collection of interrelated data generally stored in a computer system in digital form. Now the example of database is, if you consider all the students information or all the students data of a particular department, then this collection of data termed as database. So the difference between data and database is that data is a information or the data of a particular student, whereas database is a collection of information of same kind. Now we move to the database management system. In short, it is known as DBMS. It is a collection of interrelated data and set of program to access those data. That means DBMS consists of mainly two parts. One is collection of interrelated data, which is termed as database, as well as it has set of program. Now what is the purpose of this set of program? To access and to manage the database. So DBMS actually contains information about a particular enterprise, and it contains large amount of data. Next, we move to the application of databases. Actually, databases are widely used in almost every sectors. In today's world, almost all the sectors uses the database. From banking to airlines to university and colleges, online retailers, all these sectors are uses the DBMS. If you consider the banking enterprise, they are uses DBMS to store customer information, their corresponding account details, their loan details, as well as they are using DBMS to keep track of historical banking transactions. So to keep the information of an enterprise, we have to use the database management system. But before database management system came along in the market, the enterprises or the organizations usually stored their information in file processing system. Now what is file processing system? It is basically a system where we can keep our information or data of an organization in a different file format in a computer system. Now the file may be in different format That means it may be .txt file, it may be .doc file, or any file, and these files are used to store or keep the information of an enterprise. Apart from that, this file processing system have numerous application programs to manage and access those files. For example, if you consider as a banking enterprise which keep information about their all the customer records as well as their corresponding saving account records and credit account current account records, then they should have multiple file to keep the information of all the customer records as well as their saving account records as well as their current account records, and this file may be in different format. As well as the file processing system should have multiple application program. In that example, it may include a program or application program to add a account or to create a new account. It should have a program to debit or credit an account. Next, a program to find the balance of an account, as well as it may have a program to generate monthly statement. But this file processing system has several drawbacks, and the drawbacks, now we are going to discuss all these drawbacks. The first drawback of file processing system is data redundancy and data inconsistency. So data redundancy means repetition of information or repetition of data in multiple places, means multiple files. That means if same piece of information is repeated in multiple files, then it leads to a data redundancy. For example, the address and telephone number of a particular customer may appear in a file that consists of saving account records, as well as the address and telephone number of that particular customer also may appear in current account records. That means the customer's address and telephone number, these two fields or these two information are repeated in multiple files. This is the example of data redundancy. And now data redundancy has several drawbacks. If data redundancy is there, then it leads to higher storage cost, means we need the storage cost higher, then it has higher access cost, as well as the data redundancy leads to a data inconsistency. Now, what is data inconsistency? Take an example. Suppose we have updated the customer address and the telephone number of a particular customer in the saving account records, but somehow we forget to update the record in the current account records. That means a particular customer's address and telephone number are not same in all the file. This is known as data inconsistency. So in normal file processing system, data redundancy and data inconsistency appear so often. The next drawback is difficulty in accessing data. That means the data which are stored in file processing system, you cannot access it efficiently. Take an example. Suppose we need to find out the name of all customer who lives in a particular area, for example Park Street. So what we have to do, and suppose assume that the file processing system has an application program which will generate list of all the customer, and it does not have any kind of application program which will generate list of all customer who lives in Park Street. So we have two options. Either we can execute the application program which will generate the list of all the customer, and then from there on we can extract the customer who lives in Park Street by manually. And other option is to ask the software developer or the programmer to write an appropriate application program which will generate the list of customer who lives in Park Street or in a specific area. But these two solutions definitely are not feasible solution, not satisfactory solution. Why? Suppose several days later we need to find out list of all the customer who live in Park Street as well as who have account balance more than 10,000. And again, this kind of program is not present in the file processing system. Suppose it is does not exist in the file processing system. So again we have two options, either to execute list of all the customer who lives in Park Street and then manually extract all the record which satisfies the condition that who lives in Park Street as well as whose balance is greater than 20,000. And other option is to ask a system programmer to create an application program which satisfies our needs. So this is not a feasible solution. So the point here is that the normal file processing system does not allow the needed information to retrieve in a convenient and efficient manner. The next drawback is data isolation. Data isolation means the data are stored in a file processing system are scattered in various files and file are of different format. So writing an application program to access different kind of file format is very difficult. And then the next drawback is integrity problem. Integrity problem means the data value or the data, the information that must be stored in a database should satisfy certain type of consistency constraint. Consistency constraints, you can think about that is a kind of condition. For example, the the balance of a particular customer should never fall below a prescribed amount. That means a customer account, bank account should have a minimum amount, say it should have more than 5,000. If a particular customer's account fall less than 5,000, then the customer should be penalized with a specific amount. So this kind of condition or the consistency constraint should be enforced in your system. For that you need to create an appropriate application program. However, when new constraints are required, then to add the new constraint we have to change our application program to enforce them. So it's quite difficult to change the application program as per our requirement. So this is the one of the important problem which data file processing system faces. Next drawback of the file processing system is the atomicity. Now as we know that database stored in a computer system, and computer system like other electromechanical device is also subject to failure. But during any database operation, if failures occurs, then data must be restored to the consistent state that existed prior to the failure. Take an example. Suppose a customer wants to transfer funds from his one account to another account. Suppose customer has an account A and another account B. So this is the account A and this is the account B. Suppose account A has 1,000 rupees and account B has 2,000 rupees. So a customer have two account A and account B. In the account A, he or she has 1,000 rupees, whereas in account B, he or she has 2,000 rupees. And suppose he want to transfer 50 rupees from his account A to account B. That means a application program should be there. This is the program. So this is the program, application program, which will execute and it will transfer 50 rupees from account A to B. That means the program first should access the file A and then it will deduct 50 rupees from account A and then it will add the 50 rupees into account B. That is how fund transfer should happen. But during that execution of that program, if failures occurs, failures means in terms of maybe power off of the computer system, then what happen? Suppose program starts execution and access the file A or the database A, and 50 rupees is debited from account A or deducted from account A. So now the account of A, now it becomes 950. So account A becomes 950, and next job of the program is to add that 50 rupees or credit the 50 rupees to the account B. But suppose in that period of time the power failures occurs. So what happened? $50, 50 rupees is not credited into the account B. So after power failure, if you sum of the total amount from account A and B, we will get 950 plus 2000. So it will give 2950 rupees. That means after execution of the program and after power failure, a particular customer, the cumulative amount is 2950 from account A and B. But if you look at before the execution of the program, what was the total amount of a particular customer in combination of account A and B is 3000. 1000 plus 1000 from account A and 2000 from account B. So it was 3000. That means after execution of the program and the power failure, the system lost 50 rupees. And this is not the ideal scenario. No database system should be behave like this. That means atomicity means fund transfer should be atomic. That means it must happen in its entirety or not at all. That means either both the debit and credit all occur or neither occur. So you need to enforce this kind of atomicity in your database. But in file processing system, it is almost difficult to enforce this atomicity property. The next drawback of the file processing system is concurrent access anomalies. First of all, we have to know what is concurrent access. If a system allows multiple users to access a common file or a common database, then it will be known as concurrent access. That means at the same point of time, multiple users can access a common file or a common database. Why we need that kind of access? To improve the overall performance of the system, for faster response, and to reduce the waiting time of the users, we need to employ concurrent access. If a system is accessed by the user one by one, then the waiting time between the users definitely will increase and overall performance of the system will decrease. Hence, concurrent access is very important for any kind of system. But the concurrent access leads to a inconsistency in the database, and this is known as concurrent access anomalies. Let's take an example. Suppose a bank have account A, and say bank account A have 1000 rupees in it, and the bank have several customers. One of them are customer X and customer Y. And suppose customer X wants to withdraw 50 rupees from account A, as well as customer Y wants to withdraw 100 rupees from the same account A, and they are try to withdraw the amount 50 and 100 rupees respectively at the same point of time. That means the customer X and customer Y both are accessing a common database A concurrently, and this leads to the inconsistency in the database. For example, if X wants to withdraw amount, Y wants to withdraw amount, that means both X and Y both have to execute their program or the application program which will withdraw the amount. Say this is the P, program P. So these two programs are responsible to withdraw the amount from account A. So when X and Y are executing their program at the same time, so both the program are reading the original value of account A, which is 1000 rupees. So if X withdraw 50 rupees, so program will update the account A with 950. So program on behalf of X, it should update the account A 950. As well, the program P executing on behalf of Y should update the account A with 900. Why 900? Because program P executing on behalf of Y is also reading the old value of A, which is 1000. Then minus 100 is 900. And depending upon one which writes the value last, the account may contain either 950 rupees or 900 rupees rather than the correct value 850. That means the database become inconsistent. So this is known as concurrent access anomalies. So in that case there is no supervision is there. So that kind of supervision is very difficult to provide because data are accessed by many different application program and the different application program has no synchronization between them. The next drawback of file processing system is the security problem. Security problem means not every user of the database management system should be able to access all the data. That means suppose one customer of a particular bank should not access the record of other customer. So that means all users should not access all the data of DBMS. Similarly, the payroll personnel of a bank employee means who prepare the salary of the bank employee, they should access only the employee details or the employee database of the bank. They should not be allowed to access the customer and their saving account records. That means the database access should be restricted to the among the different types of users. So that kind of security, enforcing security, is very difficult to impose on normal file processing system. To overcome all these above mentioned drawback of the file processing system, we have to use DBMS. Database management system offer all the solutions to above mentioned problems. So at the end of this lecture, what is the goal of DBMS? We came to know that the goal of DBMS is to store the database information in efficient manner as well as to retrieve the stored information in efficient manner as well as provide safety to the stored information. So these are the ultimate goal of DBMS. That's it for today. In the next lecture, I will discuss about data abstraction, then instance and schemas, different data models, as well as I will discuss about the database languages. And for details of the topic, you must go through with the book, refer in the one database management system concept by Silverskatch, Korth and Sudarshan. It's a McGraw-Hill publication. This book covers almost all the topic of database management system. It's a very good book. Apart from that, you may consult with another book, Fundamental of Database System by Navate. It's a Pearson education. That's all for today.